what's up and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be giving a review for the horror film Spiral. Now this is also known as Spiral from the Book of Saw, and this is the 9th film in the Saw film series, or you can say it's a spin-off of the Saw film series. Now it stars Chris Rock, Samuel Jackson, Max Minghella, and other actors and actresses too as well. I'm not going to get into all them. Now it's directed by Darren Lynn Bousman too as well. Now this film is about detectives trying to find a copycat jigsaw serial killer. This person is actually committing like crimes and kills that are very similar to the things that Jigsaw did like in the previous Saw films. And like the way the film is actually set up and made is very reminiscent of the Saw films, and it does definitely feel like a Saw film, like the traps that the victims be in. They actually have to choose whether or not to die or live, and if they choose to live, their sacrifice would be something like very tragic. They'll probably have to lose like a finger, or lose a tongue or something like that just to survive. But I don't want to get into it too much because it's kind of spoiled. The film itself is actually dealing with the idea that there's a person who's actually copycatting like the Jigsaw murders from like the past. Now I think this film was a pretty solid film. I think once it got kind of towards like the end of the film, like the third act of the film, that's when it started kind of going downhill. But it was interesting seeing Chris Rock, actors like Chris Rock and Samuel Jackson in the film like this. I was kind of surprised that they would make a film like this. Now Chris Rock plays a detective, Zeke Banks, or you can say Ezekiel Banks, but they call him like Zeke throughout most of the film. Then you also have Max Minghella as like his rookie partner known as Detective William Will Schenck, and I was like the person that's like the rookie that he's actually carrying around for him, trying to solve these murders and trying to find out who's doing it and so on, and who's actually copycatting or copying the Jigsaw killer. Then you also have Samuel Jackson as Marcus Banks, and that's actually Zeke Banks' father. So that's actually like Samuel Jackson's character is actually the father of Chris Rock's character. So both of them are like detectives like on the police force. And then throughout the film you get to see how crooked and corrupt like the police force is, and that's one of the reasons why this like I said, I'm going to say this because it's kind of spoiled territory, why this copycat Jigsaw killer is actually killing all these different victims. And he's actually targeting mostly on the cops too as well, because the cops all have like a crooked, like twisted like past, and that's why this Jigsaw copycat killer is actually copying, is actually targeting the cops themselves, And of course, Chris Rock and Samuel Jackson, they are both like detectives too as well. Now you also have I think Marisol Nichols as Captain Angie Garza, and she's like the captain of like the police force too as well. Now I don't want to touch on all the characters, but I just leave it at that. But the film does really feel like a Saw film, like the way that the traps be designed. You have these people like stuck like in these terrifying like mechanisms, where they actually have to survive and they have like a time limit to get out of it. It does really feel like a Saw film. You would definitely think this was like Saw 8 or something like that, like 9 or 9, you would definitely think that, but instead it is like a copycat serial killer and so on. But I thought it was pretty entertaining. It's like very gruesome and like bloody and violent, and I thought the chemistry between like Samuel Jackson's character and Chris Rock's character was pretty interesting. And it was interesting and odd seeing both of them like in a film like this. I was kind of surprised, especially like Samuel Jackson being in a film like this. But overall, I thought it was pretty entertaining. But like I say, once it got towards like the third act of the film, it started to feel like it was kind of falling apart, And there's like a bunch of like flashback sequences that take place in the past, and you get to see how crooked and corrupt all these cops are that the Jigsaw copycat killer is targeting, and you can see why he was actually targeting them, like killing them, because you could see things like in the flashback sequences of why he had to actually kill them, or why he wanted to kill them particular people, So I thought it was a pretty decent film, and it does definitely feel like a Saw film. Like I said, you would definitely know this is a Saw film, like with the torture porn, type elements too. But they used to say about with the Saw films, they call it like torture porn type films, like as far as like horror films go. But this was a pretty solid film, So I'm gonna give Spiral, I'm gonna give this a B-, and I would definitely recommend it for like fans of the Saw film franchise. I would definitely recommend it for like Saw like fans period, like in general. If you're just a fan of like torture porn type horror films, that's what it was called, the Saw films at the time. So I would definitely recommend it. I give this a B-. Please leave a comment and subscribe too as well.